Mustafa Al-Jazari through the police body cams, Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Today we have friends and supporters on a group chat. Casey, Christina Bustos, Michelle, Becky, and other individuals are going to be joining the conversation in a little bit. Now, I have a really bad habit of forgetting where I'm at and just being in my conversation. Now, I'm going to make an effort. I told my friends that I'm going to make an effort to make sure to include them and have them be part of the conversation. Now, I can't promise anything, but I'm making an effort. On that note, let's dive into today's podcast. We have our beautiful cup. The whole county is coming after me, apparently, because I have a cup that says the keyword is allege. Now, it's been 2 years. Mustafa Shelly, how are you, ma'am? Thank you for being part of the conversation. It's been 2 years, and Mustafa Al-Jazari is held in our county jail without a preliminary hearing, without a trial, and the prosecutor refused and is terrified to put the evidence on the record. For the prosecutor that screams Mustafa is guilty, she's terrified to put the evidence on the record. We have sealed documents, discovery documents. We have sealed body cams. The prosecutor and the Commonwealth attorney went to Judge Carol Weimer and sealed off every document in Mustafa's discovery, every body cam in Mustafa's discovery. The dash camera in the vehicle, the prosecutor and the Commonwealth attorney sealed it off from the community. Now, for a prosecutor that screams Mustafa is guilty, why are they terrified to show this community the dash camera? Unfortunately for this prosecutor, we have a police officer out of Prince William County who's not happy with what they're doing to Mustafa and other individuals behind closed doors, and supplied us with the body cams, with the discovery documents that show that this prosecutor has been lying about Mustafa for the past 2 years.
You know, Mark, they don't want us to see the truth. That's why they're hiding everything.
Casey, they're terrified that this community is going to see the truth. They're happy. You know, you have NBC4, Julie Carey, who's a mouthpiece for the police department, who falsified every police report in Mustafa's discovery, who's terrified that this material is going to come out to the community and they get to see that they've been lying about Mustafa for 2 years. I mean, originally, they charged Mustafa with manslaughter. When that didn't work, and evidence came forward that we had a recording, my other brother Muhammad recorded the conversation between the investigator and Mustafa and supplied it to Internal Affairs. Within 5 days of Internal Affairs admitting that they falsified, this investigator had falsified Mustafa's statements on a police report, the prosecutor dropped the charges and retaliates, and she brings it up to murder. What's going on here? And instead of holding their police officers accountable, the prosecutor protects the investigator by retaliating. And what did they do inside the jail? You know, I'll tell you, what did they do inside the jail? They beat Mustafa. They abuse Mustafa, sexually assault Mustafa inside the jail. We have a video, the CCTV video, where it shows Mustafa is carried unconscious, a handcuffed Mustafa, from one cell into another cell. An unconscious Mustafa. Mustafa's handcuffed behind his back. And one of the correctional officers is hitting him on the head and is kicking him as Mustafa is being carried by 6 giant correctional officers from one cell into another cell, only to take him to another cell, beat him, and sexually assault him, and then deny him medical.
Instead of reprimanding them, she's promoting them.
And instead of reprimanding them, they promote them. Unfortunately for this prosecutor in this county, we have sealed documents, sealed body cam that were leaking on the internet, and we get to have a conversation. And the conversation is Judge Carol Weimer impartial? Now, for the past 2 years, Judge Carol Weimer has been protecting this prosecutor who's lying about Mustafa. For 2 years, we weren't able to do and show this community that this judge is impartial. But today is a different story. We're in circuit court. Judge Carol Weimer and Mustafa are in circuit court. And whatever Judge Carol Weimer rules on is on the record. Now we're pulling the record. We're comparing it to the police reports that are falsified. And we're comparing it to body cams. And we get to show this community that Judge Carol Weimer is living up to the reputation that he has in this community. Now, Judge Carol Weimer has a reputation, has a very specific reputation. That this reputation, this conversation came up during his judicial review. Someone came up and said, Judge Carol Weimer, you don't rule on the evidence, sir. You rule on relationships. Now, isn't that what we've been screaming in front of the court, in front of the jail for the past 2 years? My mother, my family, my whole entire family, we've been protesting in front of the jail, saying that the prosecutor is lying and the judge is impartial. But for 2 years, they dismiss the conversation and say they don't have any proof. Well, today is a different kind of conversation. It's a different kind of conversation because we have the body cams, and the discovery material. Now, I'm going to pull up a specific video. I'm going to pull up a specific video about Judge Carol Weimer. So that way, when we're talking about certain issues, we have documents, videos, recording that back up the conversation that we're having. So it's not just a conversation. And the video is here somewhere.
Hi, Shirley.
Shirley, how are you, ma'am? Thank you for being part of the conversation. That video is available on the internet. If you Google Judge Carol Weimer, you'll see a video about a judicial review where someone comes up and says, Judge Carol Weimer, you're impartial.
What have we here?
Let's see if we have that video.
What have we here? A judge
What
that did not
have-
want to look at the videos.
What have we here? A judge that refused to look at the videos and the materials in the Mustafa al-Jazari case. Instead, he hides behind sealing the documents from the community, from the family, from Mustafa himself. I've never seen a case where you're charging someone with something and you refuse to show him his own discovery, his own body cam, his own dash camera. What are they terrified? What are they terrified from that they're sealing off everything, even from Mustafa himself?
Well, the truth is coming out, and it's been coming out.
You know, the Commonwealth Attorney and the Chief of Police and this prosecutor are hoping that maybe if they look away long enough, that this is just gonna go away. Well, I hate it. I hate to break it down for them and tell them that this is only, we're just getting started. This is the video that I was telling everybody.
Bomber, Prince William County, the 31st Judicial Circuit. Is Judge Weimer there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Go ahead. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about everybody else?
How long have you been on the court, and why do you want to continue?
7.5 years.
How long you been, and why do you want to continue?
Can I hear you?
I'm coming the end of my first term,
All right.
so I've been on the court 7.5 years. I find it to be a challenge, and I find it to be an opportunity to serve the Commonwealth. Okay.
I mean, a guy applying to work at McDonald's would have probably given a better answer. I found it to be a challenge and an opportunity to serve the Commonwealth. A challenge and an opportunity to serve the Commonwealth. Well, sir, for 2 years, you've been impartial. You have not been impartial on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. You've been impartial. I think we're mixing those two words.
Because he's serving the Commonwealth.
You know, he's protecting the relationship that he has with the Commonwealth attorney. And he's comfortable.
Commonwealth is his priority.
You know, Shelly, yes, ma'am, he's comfortable because he gets to seal off the body cams. He gets to seal off the discovery, the documents. I mean, who's really to be able to verify whether he's being impartial or not? No one. I mean, if I didn't have the body cams and I didn't have the discovery, we can sit here and have this conversation, but at the end of the day, even though we're in circuit court and everything is on the record, you cannot be able to verify whether this judge is being impartial. There's no way. Okay? And it'd be...
Wouldn't you want to watch what you're sealing before you seal it? Wouldn't you want to see what's going on first?
100%. 100%. I mean, you can't seal documents. You can't seal body cams unless you've watched them. Unless you know the content of what you're sealing. I mean, you're not sealing off whatever. And you have to have a reason. You watch them. You know what's on it. And you're specifically sealing it because you know you don't want anybody to verify this content. Whether you're partial or impartial. You don't want anybody to verify. But unfortunately for this judge,
He just seals everything without watching.
you know, apparently it's a common practice in Prince William County to seal off documents every time you have police misconduct. We see it in the Juan Campos, the 18-year-old that was 9 days into his incarceration was found killed inside Prince William County. Inmates that came forward say that this inmate was murdered on the hand of a correctional officer Eric Lindsay. They sealed off his police body cams when he got arrested. They sealed off all the CCTV from intake and inside the jail. Now, forget this case. Forget the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Forget the Juan Campos, the 18-year-old case. Let's talk about Tatiana David, a black girl, an abductee, who the police made the wrong call to pursue the vehicle and take it as far as put 50 bullets into that vehicle and shoot 50 AR-15 bullet hole into that vehicle. Now, the police claim that they found her outside the vehicle, insinuating that we don't know whether it's her boyfriend, the father of her child, is the one that shot her, or she came out the vehicle. They're claiming she came out the vehicle and she was caught in the crossfire. And they're saying we found her outside the vehicle. And the news repeats the narrative of the police department. Now, what do we have today? Body cams where this black girl is turned around like a pretzel inside the vehicle. and dragged and repositioned somewhere else. Now, that's not what they've been telling us for 2 years. But what did they do? They sealed off those body cams. And you can't even get the federal government to help you because they're sealed off by the county, by the state level, and they're telling everybody, we're investigating. They're investigating themselves. Now, it's a common practice in Prince William County to seal off body cams. They sealed it off for Mustafa. They sealed it off for Juan Campos. They sealed it off for Tatiana David. We have other files that once we get the go-ahead to talk about, we're going to start releasing those files.
And she
Now-
was dragged out face down. Her face was in the dirt when they dragged her out of that car. Until they flipped her over.
You know, the media does not address these body cams that are released.
And they thought it was funny. They were laughing in the background, the cops were.
And you know what's disturbing? It's the same police officers that responded to the vehicle accident for my brother Mustafa are the same officers that shot and killed and repositioned Tatiana David's body, and then they're feet away from her body, laughing the same way they were laughing at my brother when he was in a coma in front of his car. He was my brother.
Same day, right?
Same day. Same day. I mean, God works in mysterious ways where he wants to expose this evil in this county. I mean, you have officer like Casey Fines and other individuals that are feet away from my brother's body when he was in a coma laying in front of his own vehicle. Same officer, Casey Fines and other officers, are feet away from this black girl that her body is riddled with 50 bullet holes. Laughing. What are you laughing about, sir? You know that this community is not going to see the body cams. You know that there is a common practice in Prince William County where the Commonwealth Attorney and the Chief of Police, Peter Newsham, and Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, and instead of holding you accountable, they're going to seal off the body cam to protect you. Well, unfortunately for you, there's a lot of other police officers that are not okay with this. They're not okay with it and took those material, put it on a flash drive, documents, discovery documents, files, body cams, and supplied it to me. Now I'm leaking it out on the internet. And we have the federal government, now that it's public, are no longer bound by the material is sealed by the state level. You have the state level, you have the federal level. When the local government fail you, you ask for the federal government to do their job. But sometimes their hand is tied with bureaucracy. The material is sealed, we're investigating ourselves. Well, it's been 2 fucking years. What have you investigated? What is the outcome? Well, in light of the body cams that are released in the documents, now the federal government gets to see that it's a cover-up. It's a cover-up in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. It's a cover-up in the Tatiana David case. It's a cover-up in other files that we're providing the federal government.
And what's the chief of police doing? Not a darn thing.
Well, you know, I have a video that we sat down with the chief of police, Peter Newsham, a year ago. And this chief of police, the conversation is disturbing. We're going to watch this video with the chief of police. And no accountability. He's covering up for his officers. And is dismissing the whole entire conversation. Well, unfortunately for this chief of police, Peter Newsham, you can no longer dismiss the conversation because we have all your body cams. We have all your documents that the community is watching and is the deciding factor. And we're putting enough pressure on our federal government, like the fucking DOJ, like the fucking FBI, to do their fucking job. And we're going to make sure. and we're going to make sure that they do their job.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
We have Mustafa joining the conversation from Prince William County Adult Detention Center.
$3.61. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Mustafa, hello.
Hello?
Mustafa, thank you for joining the conversation. You're in the middle of the podcast. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa Al-Jazari through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Now, Mustafa, thank you for joining the conversation. We have everybody on YouTube. You're live. We have Casey. We have Shelly. We have Christina Bustos. We have Shirley. We have everybody here.
Hello, Mustafa.
Hey, how's it going?
Mustafa, we were just talking about Judge Carol Weimer and the common practice in Prince William County, how when every time they have police misconduct, they seal off the body cam. And we were playing a video where Judge Carol Weimer, during his judicial review, someone comes up and says, Judge Weimer, you rule regardless of the evidence. You rule on relationships. Now, for the past 2 years, we've been screaming that Judge Carol Weimer is living up to the reputation, that he rules despite of the evidence, and he rules based on relationship. And Mustafa, the mic is yours. You've been held in a county jail for 2 years where the prosecutor is lying. Unfortunately for that prosecutor, we have all her body cams, all her discovery to show this community that this prosecutor has been lying, that this judge has been impartial. I mean, for a prosecutor that screams, you're guilty, why is she terrified to show this community the dash camera?
Exactly. If you want to take a look at and see when I had a court hearing where it was actually a bond motion, that bond motion, the judge listened to the recording between myself and Robert Trump. He saw the dash camera video, and the first thing he said is, give the man his bond. He gave me a $5,000 unsecured bond, which means that all I have to pay is $500, and I'm free to go. Not even house arrest, not even no ankle bracelet, nothing. That's what Judge Carol Weimer said. He said, give the man his bond. And what did Sarah Sammy say? The prosecutor said, the Commonwealth is not going to be very happy with your decision. They're not going to be happy with your decision. What does that mean?
They're threatening the judge. They're threatening the judge. She's threatening the judge.
He heard the audio between Robert Drum and myself, and for him to give me bond of me just paying $500, think about it. This so-called murderer, they're painting me as a murderer, and he's giving me a $500 bond. Like, all I have to pay is $500. Does that make sense?
Now, Mustafa.
To charge it? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what I find really interesting is how Julie Carey on the news lies to the community, and she puts out a different narrative. She says, after the judge saw the dash camera, the judge reversed the bond. That's not true. I have the audio for the proceeding. Mustafa, I have the audio for the proceeding. The judge saw the dash camera, heard the audio where the investigator falsified the police report, and gave you the bond. The prosecutor gets up in court, and she threatens the judge. She tells him the Commonwealth is not going to be happy with you, Judge Carol Weimer. What is that supposed to mean? What are you threatening this judge with? Let's watch, Mustafa, let's watch the NBC4 and have a conversation.
Video shows the seconds before a car crashed into oncoming traffic and killed a woman and her young daughter.
Now, the man who has been jailed for more than a year, accused of intentionally causing that crash, may soon bond out of jail. He faces 2 charges of second-degree murder.
Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Julie Carey was in court today when prosecutors presented evidence, including video from that dash cam. And we want to warn you, some of what you're about to see is disturbing. This is some of the dashcam video the prosecution played for the judge to try to convince him to keep Mustafa Al-Jazeera behind bars. It shows the moments before his car crashed into oncoming traffic, killing his girlfriend, Dorothy Fontaine, and her 5-year-old daughter. There is no audio, but prosecutors say the couple's facial expressions indicated they were arguing, continuing a fight that began earlier in the day over a former boyfriend. Then, as the car reaches an intersection, it veers left into oncoming traffic. Prosecutors saying Al-Jazeera did it intentionally.
Now, I find that
Another camera angle showing the victim
I find that interesting.
as she braces for
What they do,
Al-Jazeera's expression changing little.
what they do.
Prosecutors telling the judge the video proves if Al-Jazeera is released, he poses a danger to the public.
What I find interesting is after a whole entire year, they release a deformed version of a dash camera. They chop up the camera, piece it together, and release 4 seconds of this dash camera, telling the community, this is the dash camera. Well, why not release the full dash camera? What are you terrified that this community is going to see when you release the full dash camera? Not the deformed version that you chopped up and released to the community. Unfortunately for this prosecutor, we have the full dash camera, and we're going to take a deep dive into this dash camera, and it shows the whole entire thing is a vehicle accident, and there was no argument inside the vehicle. Now, I find it interesting that they say that the dash camera does not have audio. Well, we have a document from the discovery that Officer Zymus, with the digital forensic, admit that this dash camera does in fact have audio, and the audio is on the SD card. Now, why is the prosecutor terrified that this audio is going to be introduced into the record? Mustafa, by law, is entitled to hire an expert to go in and download the SD card audio and put it into the record. This prosecutor is terrified. For a prosecutor that screams Mustafa is guilty, for NBC4 who screams that Mustafa is guilty, why are they terrified that this community is going to see the dash camera and the audio is going to be released? Unfortunately for this prosecutor and NBC4, we have a giant voice on our social media, and this community is watching. And we have the dash camera that the community is watching, and they're calling this prosecutor a liar. Why have you lied about Mustafa?
And how am I a danger to the community? I've never been convicted of a crime in my life. I've never been to jail in my life. I got into a car accident, and it's clear that I put this dash camera inside my vehicle. Why would I do that? Why would I put a camera inside my car? There's a camera at 7-Eleven and a camera at the house. There's timestamps for everything. And then they cut and crop everything out and just take the last 4 seconds to make it look like something that it's not.
You want to tell me?
I got bond.
You want to tell me that someone is going to do this on purpose? He's not wearing a seatbelt, and he has a dash camera in his vehicle. Make this make sense. Give me a narrative that actually makes any kind of sense. And unfortunately for this prosecutor, we have the dash camera, and the dash camera show it's a vehicle accident. That Mustafa hit the brake. We have the body cam of the investigators who falsified the police reports. Those body cams were sealed, are still sealed, but we have them. And they say that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. They say that all these are his skid marks, and Mustafa cleared the vehicle, and the SUV turned into him. But what did they do? They seal off those body cams. Casey, one more time. What happened?
I said those cops are a danger to society.
The cops are the danger to society. We have them falsify Mustafa or police reports. We have them murder and drag, reposition a black girl's body and put it somewhere else. And the cover-up is worse than the crime. Let's continue watching the news clip.
The defense attorney had a much different take on it, saying even if the couple was having a disagreement, that's not proof the crash was intentional or that Al-Jazeera is dangerous.
They have a piece of video from one instance where it appears my client was trying to pass a vehicle and then in a moment of panic made a bad decision, an incorrect decision, because he was flustered and panicked. That is not a reason to hold somebody in jail, finding that they're a general and unreasonable danger to the community.
Prosecutors also played a police investigator's interview with Al Jazeera made 2 days after the crash. Here's part of what he said when asked about what the dashcam video shows.
It just shows you turning into the left-hand lane, no skid marks, no braking, and then just driving into oncoming traffic. I'm trying to figure out why. I don't know. Why would I do that?
But the judge ruling prosecutors failed to prove Al Jazeera would be dangerous if released. He granted a $5,000 bond. The decision, a small...
The prosecutor failed to prove that this is intentional, that Mustafa is a danger. So the judge gave out a bond, a $5,000 bond. You want to tell me that someone is being charged with double murder and the judge is giving him a $5,000 bond? What happened in court, and I have the recording for the whole entire proceeding. The prosecutor got up in court and she said, "Your Honor, Mustafa told investigator Drum that he was arguing inside the vehicle. He was angry at Dorothy inside the vehicle." Now we have an audio that we supplied to Internal Affairs that this investigator falsified those statements on the police reports. And we have a letter from the chief of police from Internal Affairs admitting that this investigator falsified the statements. Now, the lawyer at the time got up and he said, "Your Honor, I have an audio that Mustafa never said that and this police report is falsified. Your Honor, I have the recording." Now, the judge listened to that recording. It's a 30-minute recording. We'll get to listen to it. The judge watched the dash camera, and based on the evidence, he gave Mustafa a $5,000 bond. The prosecutor gets up in court, and she says, "Your Honor, the Commonwealth attorney will not be happy with you. We want a 7-day stay before you release Mustafa." What is that supposed to mean? The Commonwealth is not happy with you. She's threatening the judge. What do you have on Judge Carol Weimer that the judge gives out a bond and you force the judge's hand to put on a 7-day stay only for you to come back later and say, "Your Honor, a month ago, I'm alleging," without any evidence, she doesn't show any evidence, she just says, "Mustafa threatened a correctional officer." Well, the real question is, if that was such an issue, and if that was real, why didn't you say that in the first bond hearing? Why did you have to say that 7 days later? 2, we have evidence in light of the body cams coming out, in light of the discovery. I have an audio where a witness inside the jail say on a recorded line to the jail, Mustafa never threatened a correctional officer. It was the other way around. Because Mustafa was a witness in the 18-year-old that was murdered inside the jail on the hand of a correctional officer, Mustafa, correctional officer, would enter his cell, beat him, violate his religious items, his Quran, his prayer rug, and they're the one that beat him up. That's evidence. And we have a CCTV video that shows that it's the other way around. Now, Judge Carol Weimer had access to those evidence at the time because the lawyer, Mustafa's lawyer, subpoenaed that material, and that's why it's in the discovery. And the judge saw the evidence, and regardless of the evidence, he reversed Mustafa's bond. Now, we're going to take a deep dive into the witness, the recording. We're going to take a deep dive into the CCTV inside the jail on that day. And the community is a deciding factor into watching, is Judge Carol Weimer, have Judge Carol Weimer been impartial? We have evidence say that this judge has not been impartial. Mustafa, I'll tell you one thing. This prosecutor in this county is in hot waters because it's no longer a conversation. We have the evidence to prove that. We have the evidence to show what they're doing.
This discovery was sealed, and it's not supposed to be looked at by anyone. And now that it's out, you get to compare and see what the hell is going on here. The police are tampering, manipulating, lying, and violating their oath. And you got witnesses that are plotting to kill me. That's the witnesses that are coming up. And you got fake witnesses such as Amy Lucille Hodson, who's claiming to be a witness. And she's stolen an identity of Christina Al-Kazai.
Mustafa,
has been writing me letters here.
I have the star witness in your case, Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, admit on a recorded line that Dorothy, that he's sleeping with a minor, that he slept with Dorothy's 16-year-old child at the time. On a recorded line, he says, Kylie shows up at his apartment, high, doesn't even know where she's at, so high that she doesn't know where she's at, and he would wake up with her in his bed. Now, on a recorded line, he says that. And then he says that 16-year-old Kylie came up to him and had asked him, can we kill Mustafa and make it look like an accident? Now, today we have a vehicle accident, and the police department, the police mechanic in the police department inspect your vehicle and find out brake failure and transmission failure. Now, who tampered with your vehicle? We have evidence. We have Kylie admit that she has a relationship, that her dad works for Billy, the club owner that had a big problem with you a month before you met Dorothy. She said, my dad works for Billy. Unbeknownst to you, unbeknownst to everybody, you got in a relationship with Dorothy, who her 16-year-old daughter, her dad works for Billy. Billy, the guy that almost ran out of business, the strip club owner. Now, when you have a problem with an owner of a strip club, that's like fucking with the mob. Now, you want to tell me that Dorothy's daughter has a relationship with Billy and he's hanging out with all the strippers? Let's hear what Kylie, on a recorded line, is talking about.
My dad, he's a piercer. He pierces like a lot of strippers, and he had brought up to them what happened, and they were and who they were, and they were like, yeah, we know this guy. Like, he used to record our license plates and put it on the internet and like follow us home and stuff. So I also was thinking, I don't want them to follow me home, and I don't want to put myself in a position where, you know, I'm unsafe.
So she's repeating the sentiments of Billy. She's repeating the sentiments of the strippers who are protecting Billy. At the time, Mustafa had a location where he goes in a parking lot and promote his business. This is Billy. And Mustafa, I'll let you tell the story. Why am I telling the story? This is Billy.
I'm telling you, you're gonna fucking go. You're gonna fucking get off my property. How many times I have to tell him,
Crystal
officer?
City in Arlington, Virginia. And the strip club owner, William Bain Jr., known as Billy, comes out screaming at me. He's really mad because I'm actually making an honest living, and he wanted to kick me off of public domain. The restaurant next door said it's okay for me to be there. They're very happy that I'm promoting my business, making an honest living. The 7-Eleven next door was okay. Everybody was fine with it. Customers, they love me. They all purchased my products. But this person seemed very, very irate and just screaming in my face. And while he's screaming in my face, just big, huge, and fat. And he's literally spitting in my face while he's screaming at me. And I don't know, it's just really shocking experience that I have to deal with that.
Me and Mustafa, we go to that location, that parking lot, and I help my brother promote his business. He helped me promote my business. Mustafa has a physical therapy equipment business. He sells heat warmers. He sells small physical therapy equipment devices that are FDA approved. And I would go there and help him promote and sell his equipment. And at the same time, I'm passing out flyers to get coverage in the area for mobile mechanic, roadside assistant. I do mobile mechanic and roadside assistance. And That location, Mustafa's been going to that location for over 3 years. Now, it's a public area. It's a public easement. And if you look up the rules to that public easement, Billy, the strip club owner, has no right to come out and kick Mustafa off the property.
God damn it, I'm telling you, you're gonna fucking go.
One day he comes out and he's attempting to kick Mustafa off the property. So I take out my cell phone and I record the interaction, hoping that this crazy man has enough brain to de-escalate because the police are about to show up. And there's a video where he's assaulting Mustafa. And this video goes viral. Over 7 million. The police shows up. Prince William County shows up to that area. And they seem to have a relationship with Billy. Now, even though we had every right to be there and continue to be there, we went across the street. But it wasn't enough for Billy and the strippers that works for Billy. The same strippers that we have videos that loved Mustafa, were promoting Mustafa's business, are now attempting to go after Mustafa because their boss is not happy. Now, we go across the street. There's an empty parking lot, a vacant parking lot. And they would come across the parking lot, antagonize Mustafa, record the video only to take it to Billy to satisfy Billy. Now, Billy went viral, and the community stopped boycotting a white racist man be racist to Mustafa. That video went viral, and the community stopped boycotting Billy, his establishment. Now, a month into that situation, Mustafa met Dorothy. Mustafa had no idea that Kylie, 16-year-old Kylie, who doesn't live at the apartment, that her dad works for Billy. Do you know what kind of relationship, how long of a relationship you have to be able to pierce all the strippers for Billy? That's a deep relationship.
Jason Clapp. That's her father.
Jason Clapp works for Billy. Now, a vehicle accident happened, and sealed documents are coming out. Where in the sealed documents, it shows that Kylie has a lot of animosity toward Mustafa. She's angry at Mustafa. She's not happy with Mustafa. And she has a lot to say, a lot of hearsay. She wasn't at the apartment. There's a Googleness inside the apartment. There is video Googleness inside the apartment that shows it's a beautiful relationship. And Kylie, when it turns it and be a witness to Mustafa's character and say, Mustafa is a monster. Now, Kylie, why is Mustafa a monster? Is it because your dad works for Billy and Billy is not happy with Mustafa? This is her dad, Jason Clapp. Now, is that why? Is it because your mom is too tired from your bullshit? As a 16-year-old at the time, you were engaging in a lot of stuff that your mom did not agree with. We have Glenn Ford on a recorded line give us insight into what the mother was going through with Kylie. Kylie's on drugs. Kylie is living a lifestyle that her mom did not agree with. Kylie is separated by CPS, so she's not allowed to be there. Now, Kylie lives with her dad, Jason Clapp. And her mom does not want to have anything to do with her. And at one point, she tells her, I don't want to have anything to do with you. I choose my boyfriend. Leave me the fuck alone and go live with your dad. Kylie's upset. Kylie is upset. Now she has a lot of hearsay that she's terrified that it's coming out, that the Googleness is coming out inside the apartment because it shows that Kylie is lying about Mustafa. Now, let's watch what Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, on a recorded line says that Kylie had asked him to do. On a recorded line, Glenn Ford says that Kylie solicited to get Mustafa killed. She wanted him to kill Mustafa. And can we make it look like an accident? Let's listen to that recorded line.
Especially the older daughter. And she wanted me to shoot, like, kill him.
The older daughter wanted you to kill him?
Yeah. Like, where? Like, could you please, like, if I make it look like so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like something, and it's like self-defense. Would you do it? And I'm like, no.
Now, a private investigator went deep undercover, and Glenn Ford admitted to her on a recorded line that Kylie went up to him and asked him to kill Mustafa, and can we make it look like an accident? This is the private investigator who was sitting down with a lawyer, Elaine Jarvis, in an interview.
Okay, so coming to the punch. What did he tell you in this recording? He told me that her daughter asked him to kill Mustafa. Wow. Can't you just kill him? I said, why would she? First of all, I can't think of anybody that I would ask to kill somebody. No. It makes me question his relationship with the daughter in some sort of way. When he said the comment about the daughter asking him to, can you just kill him? It made me think about other things in our conversation. For example, where he said he had to put the daughter out because she was just there's too many problems surrounding her. It makes me wonder, was there an issue between the mother being concerned about his relationship with the daughter? Okay, so
It makes her wonder about the relationship that he has with the daughter, where we have a recorded line where Glenn Ford admit that Kylie shows up so high that she doesn't know where she's at, and he would wake up where she's in his bed. Now the question is, what does Kylie Clapp have on Glenn Ford that she has him
that's going viral to keep burglars
wrapped around her finger? That he's lying about Mustafa, that she's comfortable enough to solicit him to kill Mustafa. This is another star witness in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, Glenn Ford, and he has a lot of hearsay to say about Mustafa. Now, he's terrified that there is a Google Nest inside the apartment, video Google Nest, that showed that Mustafa loves his family, the kids, Dorothy, his girlfriend, and the kids and Dorothy love him. They're terrified. Him and Kylie Clapp are terrified that there are video evidence that show that they're lying. Let's hear what he's talking about. The question is, what does Kylie Clapp have on Glenn Ford that she's comfortable enough to solicit him to kill Mustafa? Let's listen to this audio.
What about that Mustafa guy?
I don't know. I just think he just smokes weed. Cause I even asked her, like, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, you on?
Is he alcoholic?
I just know he smokes weed. Because I asked her, like, you know what I'm saying, because at that time I was taking the shit, and I was like, hey, would it be a problem? Like, you know what? This is something that I won't. If I do it, I won't do it in this house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So every time I like come home from work, I would do it before I get in the house.
Yeah.
Or I would step out of my house.
Yeah.
I should have to step out of my house.
Yeah.
Every time she tried to sleep in my bed, like, no, go in the fucking living room, yo. I'm like, you're not sleeping in my bed, not with me in it. Like, I don't want none of that drama. I don't want none of that shit. One time I went to sleep, I woke up, she was in my bed, I got my ass up and went in the fucking living room and said, like, it's right now. Like, I fuck with you.
I woke up, find her in my bed. I wake up finding her in my bed. And then this is a hour-long video. You can listen to it on YouTube. You can listen to the full audio. Now, in another portion in this audio, he says that he says, Mustafa, you have 1 minute. Do me a favor. All right, sounds good. I love you. Take care of yourself. We're here, and this prosecutor, I promise you, by the time I'm done with her, she's going to end up in jail. and including all these individuals that are lying about you. I love you, man. Stefana, Shelly, Christina, Bustos, Casey, Shirley, everybody says goodbye. I love you, man.
You guys hang in there. Just waiting here patiently and praying. And just my last message would be the diddlers have been identified. And when I come out soon, I'll see you guys in person.
I love you, man.
It's a matter of time.
I love you. We are your voice on the outside. We're all Mustafa, and the diddlers have been identified. I love you, and I'll talk to you later.
On that note, I just want to say God bless you and thank you for your support. Anyone that's putting money on my books, I really, really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. You're actually keeping me going during these difficult.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
And we have Mustafa's legal fund. This is Mustafa's legal fund. One of the things that we're doing in this podcast is we're raising money so Mustafa can have a lawyer. This is Mustafa's legal fund. You can cash out the legal fund. It's $, Mustafa Legal Fund. So to donate to Mustafa's legal fund is just literally, it's a cash app and it's Mustafa Legal Fund. We're raising money for Mustafa's lawyer so that Mustafa can fight this prosecutor in court. Now, there's a portion in this audio that's very disturbing. So he admits to the private investigator that he slept with a 16-year-old, Dorothy's 16-year-old. That Glenn Ford slept with a 16-year-old. He's admitting to the private investigator. This is not me saying it. This is not what the private investigator is saying. This is on a recorded line. Now keep in mind, this recording happened at MGM in Maryland. The CCTV video and other videos are available. They will be played out in court. And this is on a recorded line. He's admitting to this private investigator that he slept with the 16-year-old. Now he takes it further and he admits other things. There's a portion in this audio that is just as disturbing, where he talks about washing Dorothy's kids when he was in a relationship with her. Dorothy has a 9-year-old, has a 10-year-old, and he's admitting to this private investigator that he's washing these kids, and he's telling the private investigator, I'm washing them. I'm not looking at them. I'm just washing them. I mean, you want to talk about being a pedophile? You have taken this to a whole new level. Maybe we should get Vitili on this. Vitili is, he has a giant show
but there's been
where he exposed pedophiles. And I tagged him in this video on TikTok. Vitili,
man of my word, I mean that. He will sign a deal.
Vitili has a giant presence on the internet, on social media. I've tagged him in this recording, and we would love to hear what his take is on the situation. That we have a star witness who's a pedophile. Let's listen to the other portion in the audio.
She wanted me to shoot, like, kill him.
The older daughter wanted you to kill him?
Yeah. Like, where? Like, could you please, like, if I make it look like...
Yeah. So if you go on YouTube and it's at 55 minutes.
And I had to force those kids to take a fucking shower. I had to teach them how to fucking take a shower. I mean, I wasn't in there with the boys looking at them or whatever. I'm like, yo, when y'all wash up, you know, That's how you wash up. Every day when I come home from work, whatever, I spend at least an hour of my time teaching that little boy how to read.
He would force them to shower. He would teach them how to shower. Not looking at them. I'm just teaching them how to shower. You're talking about a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old. The fuck are you doing? You're 40 years old. What the fuck are you doing? Now we tagged our good friend Vitali in this conversation, and we want his take into catching a pedophile. And this is a giant case at Prince William County, where the prosecutor is using a pedophile, him admitting on a recorded line that he's a pedophile. The prosecutor is using a pedophile into Mustafa's case. She's calling Glenn Ford a star witness. Well, prosecutor Sarah Sammy, your star witness is already impeached before he even takes the stand. Your other star witness, Kylie Clapp, Dorothy's 16-year-old daughter at the time, who today she's 18, but she likes to hide behind being a minor. You're not a fucking minor. You solicited Mustafa to be killed and make it look like an accident. Can't hide behind a minor when you're soliciting to kill somebody. The prosecutor is now looking at you as a liability in light of all the evidence that are coming forward. You have a relationship that on a recorded line, you said you have a relationship with Billy, Mustafa, met your mother, Dorothy.
Thoughts of them.
A month into this situation.
Keep it up, and goddamn it, I'm telling you, you're gonna fucking go.
And now you're telling us that your dad has a deep relationship with Billy, and now you're hanging out around the strippers? That's what you're saying on a recorded line.
My dad, he's a piercer. He pierces like a lot of strippers, and he had brought up to them.
He pierces all the strippers. Her dad works for Billy, and she goes up to Glenn Ford's, that jealous ex-boyfriend, and solicits to get Mustafa killed. Can we kill him and make it look like an accident?
Especially the older daughter. And she wanted me to shoot, like, kill him.
The older daughter wanted you to kill him?
Yeah. Like, where? Like, could you please, like, if I make it look like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, something, it's like self-defense, would you do it? And I'm like, no.
Private investigator went deep undercover, sat down with Mustafa's lawyer at the time in an interview.
Okay, so coming to the punch. What did he tell you in this recording?
He told me that her daughter asked him to kill Mustafa.
Wow.
Can't you just kill him? I said, why would she? First of all, I can't think of anybody that I would ask to kill somebody.
No.
It makes me question his relationship with the daughter in some sort of way. When he said the comment about the daughter asking him to, can you just kill him? It made me think about other things in our conversation. For example, where he said he had to put the daughter out because she was just there was too many problems around her. It makes me wonder, was there an issue between the mother being concerned about his relationship with the daughter?
Okay, so
Now, we have other recordings and other videos that we're going to be releasing of Glenn Ford and Obviously, there is we're taking our time. We're taking our time and releasing certain things. Certain things has to be released at the right time. There is audios and videos that are going to be released. Glenn Ford, mother, has been identified. The hotel that she works for has been identified. Her boss has been identified. Glenn Ford's family members have been identified. We're going to be reaching out to certain individuals. There's material that we're going to be supplying certain individuals with. The DOJ and the FBI, we're working very closely with them. We're supplying them with information. They're supplying us with information. We have individuals that fall under the category of private investigators that are working behind the scenes, that are doing their job. This is a giant case, and it's going to take time, and we're just going through the process. Now, we're operating within the law. We're doing everything by the book, and we invite Glenn Ford. We invite 18-year-old Kylie Clapp. We invite Amy Hodgkins, who pretends to be Christine Alcazar on the internet. We've identified her. We've identified Dale. We've identified other individuals surrounding this character. We invite Stephanie Claiborne, Kate0707, who pretends to be Kate0707 on the internet, but is the wife of the investigator that falsified the police report, to be part of the conversation. We have a giant podcast. We'll tell you where we're at. You're welcome to join us in the podcast and be part of the conversation. Now, Kylie, on a recorded line, came up to Glenn Ford and solicited that Mustafa gets killed. And can we make it look like an accident? Well, today we have a vehicle accident, and the police mechanic on their body cam, the police mechanic on a police body cam admit that this vehicle, the brakes didn't work and the transmission didn't work. The drive shaft disconnected from Mustafa's engine. The drive shaft disconnected from the engine. Now, the computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa hit the brake. As a matter of fact, the dash camera showed that Mustafa hit the brake. The body cam from the investigator, Drum, and investigator Chad Mason, on their body cam at the scene of the accident, admit that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident, that all these are his skid marks, that Mustafa cleared all the vehicles, and the SUV is the one that turned into him. This is a body cam. This is the dash camera. And on this dash camera, you'll see that before the intersection, you see that the baby in the back shifts forward twice. You see Mustafa's body shifts forward as he's hitting the brake. The computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa was hitting the brake the whole entire time. If you fast forward, let me pull it up in the, hang on, let's see, where I can slow down this dash camera. Let's see, I have it here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Mustafa is driving. He takes a lane. He takes a lane. He thought it was a regular lane. You see right there? You see the back seat, 5-year-old Empress, how she shifts forward? There is no way that you can shift forward without Mustafa hitting the brake. Mustafa hit the brake, and it shifts forward. The whole car shifts forward. But the brake gave out. The police mechanic inspected the vehicle, and he said there was brake failure. You see that? You see 5-year-old Empress, how she shifts forward. The whole vehicle shifts forward. Mustafa hit the brake twice. His whole body shifts forward. He's hitting the brake. The computer inside the vehicle shows that he hit the brake. The police mechanic, before we move from the dash camera, this dash camera is cut by the police department, is muted by the police department. Now, this is a Rexon dash camera. Officer Zymus in the discovery admit that this dash camera does in fact have audio. And the audio is on the SD cards. The police department is blocking. By law, Mustafa is entitled, by law, he can hire an independent expert. He should be able to download the audio off the SD card and put it on the record. Now, the prosecutor is terrified that Mustafa is going to download this audio, and she's blocking every effort. It's been 2 years. For the prosecutor that screams Mustafa is guilty, she's terrified that the audio is going to be on the record. From this dash camera, we see that there is no argument. She claims there's an argument, but she's concealing the dash camera. She hides the dash camera from the community because the minute that you see this dash camera, you see that there is no argument and this is a vehicle accident. As a matter of fact, we're finding out that this police department not only lied about there is no audio, but in fact cut the dash camera. This dash camera is cut before impact. If you watch the dash camera, there's no impact. Where's the impact? Where's the rest of the dash camera? Now, this police department is so incompetent that even when they cut the dash camera, they didn't do a good job cutting it. What does that mean? This is a Rexon dash camera. It has a lens facing forward and a lens facing inward. It's connected to the same computer in this dash camera. Now, if this dash camera, for whatever reason that they claim, stopped before impact, which defies logic, this dash camera, there's no way that it stopped before impact. But let's go along with their narrative. Why is it that the outside lens and the inside lens cuts off at different frames? This police department is so incompetent that when they cut this dash camera, they cut it at different frames. The inside view is 8.0 and the outside view is 8.3 frames. You see how it ends? How this frame on the inside ends before the one on the outside? This stops at 8.0. But the outside frame continues rolling. This police department is so incompetent that when they cut this dash camera, they cut it at 8 seconds, but they didn't cut it at the frame level, which showed that they manually cut this dash camera. Now, this prosecutor is in hot water, this police department is in hot water, and we're having a conversation and we're asking for accountability. This is a body cam that's sealed off by the county where the police mechanic on a police body cam admit there is brake failure and transmission failure. This body cam is about over 2 hours long. This is a portion of it where they admit there's brake failure.
see brakes appear to be brand new.
These do. Well, if I was to ask you if they were installed and functioning properly, would you need to remove the calipers for that?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we can make sure that whoever put them on look like they did them correctly and look like they're not causing any issues, then I'm okay without the calipers coming off.
Visually, they look good. If somebody, is there a brake pedal even left in it?
Yeah.
If I could give you a pipe or a bar to push on it, could I see if it physically stopped its rotation?
Yeah, that's fine. I think we could do that. Okay.
It's still attached.
Hey, Cruz, I'm going to push the brake. He's going to spin that. Can you? That's fine. On your cam, can you record the stopping of the motion?
36. Well, we can do it the other way. I can push it.
No, that's fine.
The other one?
No, I was. Go forward. Go forward. All right.
He's going to push on the.
Yeah, it works. It works? Okay.
So it applied and released.
Okay.
You want me to do the other one?
Yeah. Just tell me when you're ready. You ready?
Yep.
I'm applying it.
Alright, this one's still going.
That one's still going?
Yeah, this one's still going.
Okay.
So what they're talking about is the Prince William County police officer would hold a bar, depress the brake, and the mechanic would spin the wheel, and the police mechanic is telling the investigator that this one keeps going. What that means, the vehicle did not have brakes. The back passenger caliper did not engage. The front passenger caliper did not engage. This body cam continues to talk about the drive shaft, inspecting the drive shaft, and how in the middle of Mustafa hitting the brake, the drive shaft disconnected. The computer inside the vehicle shows that Mustafa's foot is only on the brake pedal, not on the gas, only on the brake pedal. But the RPM is shooting up really high. What that means, the only way you would explain this is when Mustafa was hitting the brake, Mustafa's speed, he was going 55 miles an hour. Now, that's the speed limit. He's going speed limit. Now, when he wanted to use the brake, you have brake when you're going 20, when you're going 30. But at that speed, when he hit the brake, you see on dash camera that the vehicle shifts forward. That 5-year-old Empress in the back shifts forward. He hit the brake. The computer inside the vehicle shows that he was hitting the brake. Twice shifts forward. But the brake gave out. Did not work. The police mechanic admit that this vehicle had brake failure. Had not mechanical failure, vehicle failure. When the drive shaft disconnects from the engine, this is something called, it's bigger than mechanical failure. That's vehicle malfunction. The vehicle malfunctioned. The RPM is shooting up. Mustafa is hitting the brake. So there's mechanical failure. The question here is, the police department admit that there's brake failure, mechanical failure, vehicle malfunction, that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. It's on their body cam. There's another body cam where investigator Chad Mason and Drum say that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. Let's watch that body cam. The question here is, who tampered with Mustafa's vehicle? Was it just vehicle malfunction, or did someone tamper with Mustafa's vehicle? Well, when we take a deep dive into everything surrounding the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, we're finding disturbing details. We're finding out there's a Billy. There's this guy in the background. There's Billy.
You keep it up, and goddammit, I'm telling you, you're gonna.
Dorothy's 16-year-old daughter, her dad works for Billy. That she hangs out with the strippers. That she solicited Glenn Ford, the jealous ex-boyfriend, to kill Mustafa. And unbeknownst to Mustafa, Mustafa is in that environment. This is a month after he had that incident with Billy, who went viral, and he almost ran out of business for being racist against a Mustafa. 7 million people got to see a video on the internet, and he almost ran out of business. People were boycotting that business. And Mustafa meets Dorothy and her daughter, who is now saying a lot of hearsay and is terrified because we have her on a recorded line. We have Glenn Ford on a recorded line. We have the Googleness inside the apartment that shows that she's lying about Mustafa. She says Mustafa hated her mom, hated the kids. He's a horrible human being when she never lived at the apartment. Kylie was separated by CPS. Mustafa met her, saw her once or twice. And she didn't live at the apartment. But she has a lot to say about Mustafa. It sure sounds like Kylie is being influenced by her surrounding. By her dad, by Billy, the strippers. I mean, when she walks into the forensic interview, Kylie says, "My dad is forcing me to be here." Let's watch that forensic interview.
So what is it that brought you here? Like, why are you here to talk to me today? Because my dad made me. Because your dad made you?
Because my dad made me. Why are you here? Because my dad made me. Now we have the discovery, and we have notes in the discovery that Kylie was interviewed with the kids 2 days to the vehicle accident. Why is her interview deleted from the discovery only to be redone a year later? Does that make sense? The police department is engaged in coaching the kids, in painting Mustafa as a monster, and using that 16-year-old girl, at the time she was 16, now she's 18, to prosecute Mustafa. But why? Why are they targeting Mustafa? Well, if you take a deep dive into what was happening with Mustafa before the vehicle accident, you'll get your answer. Mustafa was in an active lawsuit against the police. He was suing the police. The police had a lawyer. The police had private investigators. And they're closing the gap on Mustafa. You want to tell me that their private investigators did not know Billy? The police, lawyer, private investigator did not make contact with Billy? Did not make contact with Kylie? Did not make contact with Glenn Ford? Now, the police, through the police body cams, and the more we talk about those body cams, you're going to see a targeted effort by the police to turn a vehicle accident, who they admit on their own body cams that this is a vehicle accident, who the computer inside the vehicle show that this is a vehicle accident, that the dash camera show it's a vehicle accident. They want to turn it into a murder. And they're using Kylie. They're using Glenn Ford. They're using strippers out of that club to testify into Mustafa's character. They're using individuals who has a vested interest that hate Mustafa to testify about his character. How does that make any sense? And they avoid the evidence that showed this is a vehicle accident. They seal off the body cam. They seal off the discovery. They seal off the forensic interview that show that the police department are coaching the kids. The police department, one of the kids, Jaden, the 14-year-old child, Dorothy's child, he says, the investigator came up to me and told me that Mustafa ran away from the vehicle, and if it wasn't for him running away, my 5-year-old sister would have still been alive today. So the police department is lying to the kids only to put them in a forensic interview, record them, and drag them through the court system after painting the only person that they trusted. We have Googleness from the apartment that showed that the kids trusted Mustafa. We have a forensic interview where Jaden is admitting that the police are painting a picture for him when on their body cam they're admitting this is a vehicle accident. Now, we'll take a deep dive into those body cams and forensic interview. Now, is it not child abuse to use kids and traumatize kids and lie to kids about the only person that they trusted and paint that person as a monster because you have a vested interest to prosecute him because he was suing you police before? He was suing the police, and now you're taking advantage of a vehicle accident. I mean, when we asked Mustafa's lawyer at the time that was suing the police, we're like, they beat him inside the jail. They falsified his police report. This is what his lawyer at the time is saying about the whole thing.
The investigator that wrote the report, he lied on the report. We recorded that conversation.
I'm sure he did.
Yes, sir.
Frankly, I'm sure they all know that you sued the Stafford cops. And they beat your brother up because they know that you sued the Stafford cops.
Yes, sir.
On that note, we're going to end this podcast. We wanted to have this podcast under an hour. Apparently, there's no way that you can have a podcast when you're talking about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case under an hour. We keep shooting for having this under an hour. It's going over 81 minutes. This is a good point to stop, and we'll pick this up in another podcast. This is not another boring podcast. I want to thank Shelly. I want to thank Stefana, Shirley, Christina Bustos, Becky, and I want to thank Shirley, T-Fizz, Heather, and everybody that I'm forgetting. And I was telling Becky something earlier. I was going through one of the videos, and I ran into a comment, a specific comment, and I was reading that comment, and then I look at who's writing the comment, and it's Becky. Now, I haven't seen Becky. I've never seen who Becky is. Yesterday, we were playing around with YouTube, and sometime we were on the group chat. Half the time, I'm not even paying attention to the group chat. I just recently saw who Becky is. But when I read that comment is a year ago. A year ago. And when I tell Becky, she said, I've been following you since the beginning. I have no idea. I don't know who's following the case. I don't know who's watching. I know that God is protecting Mustafa. That he's bringing out the truth. And to have Becky, Shelly, Shirley, Stefana, and everybody that's here. You know, it's so easy to troll the conversation. It's so easy. I mean, this is picking up social media traction. And you have individuals that can troll the conversation. I mean, we've seen individuals come into our life, exit, and are just trolling the conversation. It's so easy. But I'll tell you, the longer this goes on, the community is watching. And the community is not okay with this level of bullshit. 2 years ago, they can dismiss us and say, what you guys say you have no evidence. When you contact the Commonwealth Attorney, as a matter of fact, we have a delegate, Kelly Fowler, who contacted the Commonwealth Attorney. And she says, I've watched the evidence, everything on the internet, and the police department is lying. And you have an obligation, Amy Ashworth, to hold the police department accountable. You're the one bringing up charges. Now, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth tells her, one, we're not going to try this on the internet. And two, You don't know what evidence I have in my case against Mustafa. Well, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, Delegate Kelly Fowler. Delegate Kelly Fowler, I want to tell you that Commonwealth Attorney Amy Ashworth lied to you, because today I have every piece of evidence in evidence.com. What she talked about is I have other evidence. Now I have it. And it shows that Commonwealth Amy Ashworth are protecting police officer that falsified my brother police report. This police department is engaged in child abuse. They've lied to kids, Dorothy's kids, a 9-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old. They've lied to them and painted a monster. Now I have the evidence that they lied about my brother. That they're using kids. They're weaponizing kids against my brother. And I have evidence that they lied. I have the forensic interview where it shows that they've lied. One of the kids, you don't have to take my word for it, Delegate Kelly Fowler. You can watch that forensic interview with Jaden. It's on the internet. And the kid himself, the 14-year-old kid, says he's beating himself up. And he says that a police officer, the detective, told me that Mustafa ran away, left my 5-year-old baby sister, and if it wasn't for him running away, my 5-year-old sister would have still been alive today. They're talking about, Jaden is talking about the police department, a badge and a uniform. Imagine, Delegate Kelly Fowler, imagine that this is your kid, and your husband just came out of a vehicle accident, or you just came out of a tragic vehicle accident. You wake up out of a coma, and you find yourself injected with 50 mcg of fentanyl from the paramedic. Your toxicology report, no alcohol, no drugs. In the meantime, you were helicoptered to the hospital, you just woke up out of a coma, and the police department, because they're targeting you, and ma'am, you know a little bit too much about being targeted. Your husband was a police officer. Your husband is not okay with corruption, and he was fired from the police department because he stood up against corruption. So you know what it takes when you stand up against corruption. Now imagine you wake up out of a vehicle accident, out of a coma, and the police department take advantage of your vehicle accident, and they're coaching the kids and painting you as a monster. I mean, we have body cams where Mustafa is in the hospital. Mustafa was just helicoptered. We have documents that he just woke up out of a coma. This is Mustafa. He's in the hospital, just woke up out of a coma, and the police are toying with Mustafa. For 4 hours, they tell him, your family is going to be okay. And after 4 hours, they tell him, the family that we told you is okay, they've been dead 4 hours ago. Only to have a recording. They're recording a camera. And they're hoping that the 50 mcg of fentanyl that the paramedic injected him with, he's not going to have a reaction when they're telling him that you lost your family. So they can take that body cam to the prosecutor and say, look, he didn't care about his family when we told him that his family was dead. Now, when they see that Mustafa is crying, is broken, and all he's doing is asking for his family, they seal off the body cam. They seal off the body cam. They go to a judge, and they seal off the body cam. And what do? They falsify the police report.
Tell me your address, sir.
And they say Mustafa did not care about his family. So they seal off the body cam. They seal off the body cam, falsify the police report, and lie to the community. Because they didn't get what they were hoping they were going to get after they injected Mustafa with 50 mcg of fentanyl. Now, keep in mind, delegate, that they falsified that police report, and investigator Chad Mason wrote that Mustafa did not care about his family when we told him that your family was deceased. What do we see here? Mustafa is crying. Mustafa is broken. Mustafa is broken. He's crying for his family. But they seal off that body cam. As a matter of fact, they don't just seal it off. They seal it off from the jury itself. The jury is not allowed to see this. Anything that shows Mustafa cared, they sealed it. This is a targeted effort. A targeted effort to have an impartial trial. And when you reached out to Commonwealth Attorney Amy Ashworth a year ago, she lied to you. Now, the question is, how does a delegate feel being lied to? This is sealed body cams. No longer can our conversation be dismissed to say, this is just a family. This is just a family that loved their brother, their son. This is just a family. But she has all the evidence. She tells you that she has other evidence. Well, we have every piece of evidence in that discovery, and it shows that she's lying. As a matter of fact, this is the forensic interview. In the meantime, while Mustafa's in the hospital, they're painting a picture for the kids that Mustafa is a monster, that Mustafa ran away from the scene, when in fact, the hospital they helicoptered Mustafa. Mustafa was in the hospital. They did a toxicology for 4 hours. No alcohol, no drugs. And the hospital and the police released Mustafa. So what are they doing telling kids that Mustafa ran away from the scene? And if it wasn't for him running away, my 5-year-old baby sister would have still been alive today. Your 5-year-old sister would have still been alive today. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's watch the forensic interview with what 14-year-old Jaden is talking about.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
I went into my mom's room. I was watching YouTube with my baby sister. My brother wanted me to leave so I can show something. I didn't stay, so I stayed. And I stayed until I left with Daniel. And because they were leaving soon to go get errands, rather I should have stayed because that was going to be the last day I ever saw her again. I came back from Daniel's house to my brother and my a younger brother, Farron, and she's still here. Apparently they didn't go with them, which was a good thing. Anyway, I was watching them, waiting for them to get back until I cut the news when I saw, we called them Moses, but anyway, he came from the hospital in a hospital gown and blood on his forehead, and which was weird. He told me my mom they got into a T-bone accident. Rather, no, that was on purpose. He made that T-bone accident and he ran out to mid-traffic and he put himself in an accident on purpose. I don't know why, I don't know his reasons, but at the time I was so upset and I didn't realize the truth. I was crying, I was upset, I was really upset. My mom just died. We cleaned the whole house for her too. Cheer up.
Now, mind you, that the investigator at the scene, the same one that are lying to Jaden, are saying this is a vehicle accident. They say all these are Mustafa skid marks. Mustafa cleared all the vehicles, and the SUV turned into him.
Nobody is perfect. So driver's not buckled. Neither is mom's right shotgun. Awesome, at least the kid was. Kid was buckled. I'm guessing she was half ejected because that whole side's free barred. She was buckled. Yeah. Looks like I'll be coming in tomorrow. So you see your works now.
So they lied on the news. They said that she wasn't buckled, but on their own body cam, they admit that 5-year-old Empress. If you look up NBC4 at the time, what did they say? They said 5-year-old baby was not restrained, and Mustafa intentionally crashed the vehicle. I mean, that's not what we're hearing these investigators talk about. They're saying that all these are his skid marks. The baby is buckled. These are his skid marks. So that means that he hit the brake. He attempted to hit the brake. And he cleared the vehicles only for the SUV to turn into him. And we see from dash camera that he hit the brake. Before the intersection, he hit the brake. You see the 5-year-old Empress shifts forward twice. And the computer inside the vehicle showed that he hit the brake. The police mechanic admit there is brake failure, transmission failure.
On here. That comes all the way back to about right here.
I think they hit. He was in that y'all. He just continued to spun her around, almost in place. Because your marks end right around in here. So I mean, those are definitely theirs. Hey, my son. It doesn't come off till here.
So you think that's the free tire?
I think so, because it comes here.
What's causing the infinity mark right here by the steel line?
Well, this is spinning, but it only spun once. Because that's all the drag marks from the front right. That's all fucked up right there.
It's greasy.
Did you have skid for him? Yeah, so that's all him. He spun twice.
That's all him. He's talking about the skid marks. These are all him.
Damage is on the right, which caused him to flip that way. So,
And then it finally broke off with suit.
On Chad Mason gets up on the stand as late as the last bond hearing and says Mustafa had no skid marks. No skid marks. And he said Mustafa never hit the brake. When he's on body cam at the scene, say that all these are his skid marks. All these are his skid marks. And the computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa hit the brake. The dash camera showed that Mustafa hit the brake. They seal off body cam. They seal off the discovery, hoping that this information wasn't going to get out. Well, unfortunately for them, it's all over the internet, and they're in hot waters. And we're asking the chief of police for accountability into what his police officers are doing.
They're coming in sideways, gets popped, rotates.
she just rolls backwards.
So here's the question: which way did they? Because she comes straight, she hits.
She would have turned into it.
She would have turned into him. The only way for this accident to happen, she would have turned into him. He cleared the vehicle, and she turned into him. Now let's continue watching this forensic interview. These investigators are telling this 14-year-old that Mustafa is a monster, and he ran away. And if it wasn't for him running away, if it wasn't for Mustafa running away, Mustafa, the 5-year-old baby would have still been alive today. That's what they're telling kids that just lost their mother.
She was in the car seat at it, and she sadly did not make it. In fact, his mom lied to my face, and his family lied to my face. His mom lied to my face, and they were trying to protect him. He left before the cops came and get out. Get there. When he got into the car crash, the detective said he jumped out.
The detective said he jumped out and ran. If he had thought to bring her,
The hospital, maybe she would have made it, but she didn't because he decided to be a coward, and now she's gone.
5-year-old sister would have still been alive today.
trusted. Because my mom kept on telling me he's a good guy. I kept on saying, okay, all right.
Jading is sitting there beating himself up, saying that I always trusted Mustafa. That mom always told me to trust Mustafa. This gives you insight that the kid always trusted Mustafa. That mom always trusted Mustafa, loved Mustafa, that he loved Mustafa. As a matter of fact, we have the Google Nest inside the apartment that showed Jaden loved Mustafa, and Mustafa loved Jaden. Loved Dorothy, Dorothy loved him, the kids loved him. It was a beautiful relationship. Now they're all terrified. The prosecutor is terrified that the Google Nest, that we have the Google Nest. Judge Carol Weimer is terrified because he's aware that there is a Google Nest. It's on the record that the Google Nest, that he was told that there is hours and hours of Google Nest that contradict what the prosecutor is talking about. That Mustafa is abusive, that Mustafa hates the kids. Let's continue watching this.
For over 17 years, I had an abusive relationship with the P word, and logically, I knew that it was detrimental to my relationship.
We have evidence that prosecutor Sarah Sammy, and prosecutor
Okay, that's awesome. Okay. I was in preview too.
and Commonwealth's Amy Ashworth have been lying about Mustafa. That the police department engaged in police misconduct. And what a beautiful word for such a violent thing to do. You falsify police reports. And we call it, I mean, this is a very polite way of calling what they've done into police misconduct. And you have a prosecutor, you have a chief of police who, instead of holding them accountable, he covers up for them. I mean, a year ago, we had a conversation with Chief of Police Peter Newsham, my brother Mohammed, in a meeting. Had a conversation with Chief of Police Peter Newsham about everything that's happening. Now, keep in mind, at the time, Chief of Police Newsham is comfortable to say what he said because the material are sealed off from the community. The body cam, the discovery is sealed off from the community. It's sealed off from the family. It's sealed off from Mustafa himself. So this conversation, he's comfortable to engage in this conversation.
Charged with murder while their vehicle is tampered like this.
This is the Chief of Police Peter Newsham at Prince William County.
And then the somebody charged with murder while their vehicle is tampered like this. And then the officer lies.
He's very comfortable with your brother being charged. That's what Chief of Police tells my brother Mohammed. With the evidence that we have, what do you have? Forensic interviews where you lied to kids and engaged in child abuse. This is child abuse. When you lie to kids about the only person that they trusted, it's child abuse. To lie to kids, paint Mustafa as a monster, lie to them. When your body cam in discovery shows that this is a vehicle accident, that your police officer are admitting this is a vehicle accident, the computer inside the vehicle, the police mechanic, they admit, the dash camera, they all show that this is a vehicle accident. But what is your police officer engaged in doing? They're painting Mustafa as a monster to kids that are 9 and 10. This is who you are. A person that's comfortable. What are you talking about here? You're comfortable with the evidence that we have. I mean, this chief of police have seen the forensic interviews, have seen the reports, knows what his police officer engaged in doing, and he tells my brother Mohammed and my family a year ago, he's very comfortable with the evidence that we have. Of course, you're comfortable because you thought this will never get leaked out to the community. Well, unfortunately for you, sir, this material is being leaked out and the community is watching.
You can disagree with me, and like I said, you can dislike me, but that doesn't mean...
I don't dislike you, but I would like you to do the right thing. You're off. Okay, hold on. The evidence was not preserved, sir. I'm just gonna tell you before you leave.
I wish you and your family the very best.
Before you
in this
leave,
endeavor, and I wish you
before you leave, I want to say three things to you. Okay? The dash cam was cut before impact. Okay? Robert Drum told Casey Stevens, the lawyer, he told him he had the audio. In court, he says there was no audio. Number two, the vehicle was crushed. You guys have an obligation to preserve evidence, especially somebody that's charged with murder. You have an obligation to preserve the evidence. It's not happening to preserve it.
The vehicle is crushed and staged. The police report is falsified. Mustafa's statements on that police report by Robert Drum is falsified. Mustafa never said I was arguing inside the vehicle. Mustafa never said I was angry at Dorothy inside the vehicle. We have an audio, internal affairs. The chief of police sent us a letter admitting that his police officer lied. The vehicle is crushed and staged to make it look like a head-on collision. The police report is falsified. And what else? They cut the dash camera and they muted the audio. Today we have an audio, a document in the discovery that says Officer Zymers with the digital forensic, Prince William County, admit that this dash camera does in fact have audio. I mean, I wish that was it. This police department takes it further and engage in child abuse. Paint Mustafa as a monster, put kids in a forensic interview. What the fuck are you doing? I mean, he's sitting there comfortable. He thinks that whatever he's doing behind closed doors is not going to come out. Well, I promise you, sir, there's a lot of entities that are watching in our government that are not okay with what you're doing behind closed doors. We have the federal government that are investigating your county and the individuals that you're using as witnesses, like Glenn Ford, 18-year-old Kylie, Amy Hodgkins, a.k.a. Christine Alcazai, Stephanie Claiborne, who's on three-way, the wife of the investigator that falsified the police report, who is today online pretending to be Kate 0707, providing and using Prince William County resources to go after anybody that supports Mustafa. They're posting their kids. They're posting, they're going after them. They're threatening them. I mean, let's listen to this live. This is interesting.
But it's making, I'm mad and I'm doing something about it.
This is Amy Hodgkins, a.k.a. she identified herself online as Christine Alcazai, but we have her on a body cam as Amy Hodgkins, who says a lot of hearsay about Mustafa and then says, I wasn't there. So she provides a narrative for this police department that Mustafa is a horrible human being and he did this on purpose. We have the wife of the investigator who on the same body cam is pretending to be Kate 0707. The jealous ex-boyfriend, Glenn Ford, who Kylie came up to him and asked him to kill Mustafa, who slept with a 16-year-old. That's him admitting on a recorded line. He's washing the kids, an 8 and a 9-year-old, on a recorded line. That's what he says. You have those individuals with the wife of the investigator, Kate 0707, pretending to be Kate 0707. Of course, she's terrified to turn on her camera. None of these people have the guts to turn on their camera because they know the diddlers have been identified. They don't want to. They're scared. And the longer this goes on, we're identifying who's who and who's trolling the conversation. You have the wife of the investigator Robert Drum, who falsified the police report, is online pretending to be Kate 0707 and supplying the other individuals in the case using resources from Prince William County. Anytime they find anybody that talks about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, they're going to post their pictures. You don't have to take my word for it. They posted our 4-year-old niece on there. They posted Casey. They posted Shelly's kids. They posted, who else? Shirley's kids. Charlene. There's a lot of people. Well, I'll tell you, what they're engaged in is gonna catch up to them because now you have the federal government that's investigating the county and are investigating the players in this case. They're investigating the players in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Now let's listen to this audio.
Trying to find a way to justify.
But it's making, I'm mad and I'm doing something about
Amy
it.
Hodgkins is mad, and she's doing something about it, aka Christine Al-Kazai, who here she hides behind Joe Schmo.
They're trying to find a way to justify.
Hey, don't worry. Trust me. I'll continue and continue and continue.
Yeah.
I'll continue until
They deserve everything they're getting from you because they're just nasty people.
Mark's on a mission.
You see how Mary Jo came over? Nice to have her on board.
Yep.
Oh, that's how you got Mary Jo to come over? By posting her kids? That's interesting. The wife of the investigator using Prince William County resources to identify who you are. And if I catch you talking about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, I'm going to post your kids.
Mark's on a mission.
You see how Mary Jo came over? Nice to have her on board.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I think Mary Jo is about to like really take them videos down, and she's about to come forward and let
And
them
be a
know
good little girl
she
and
don't
stop
need them anymore.
and stop advocating for Mustafa. Kylie is a minor. Kylie is not a minor. She wants to hide behind being a Kylie. She wants to hide behind being a minor. She's fucking 18 years old. You can't hide behind a minor when you're on a recorded line soliciting to kill Mustafa.
I just want to hug Mary Jo. I feel like she probably needs a hug.
So you beat her up. You beat this horse down. And then once that horse legs is broken, you break their leg. You want to hug them? I don't understand. You just got done posting her kids. You just got done threatening her into not being here. You just got done. And now you want to hug her? What the fuck is going on here?
I trust her at this point, but if I catch her over there hanging out, it's going back up.
Interesting. If I catch her up there, it's going back up. Interesting. Tell us more, my good old friend.
But at the moment, I trust her. I take her word. She seems like she's sincere, so as am I.
I mean, the second I said come in on your real account and come in and support Kylie, she did it right away.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, the other day, I remember I came in and I said, guys, I was just in Mary Jo's, remember?
Yep.
I told, like, she wasn't paying attention, then she looked at the comments, and in the comments, I said to her, I said, oh, look, aren't you the one that supports child murdering? And, like, literally, she read it and, like, started, breaking down and started crying, and then, like, 3 days later, or I don't know, 2-3 days later, she's in here, like.
But
I mean, this is wild. This is wild. I mean, they say criminals are dumb, but I didn't know they were that dumb to engage in intimidation tactics, use Prince William County resources, and then openly talk about it on the internet. On that note, I want to thank everybody that's here. I want to thank Shelly, Christina Bustos, Stefana, Casey, Becky, Heather, and everybody that I'm forgetting their name. I want to thank everybody that's here on this podcast. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa Al-Jazari through the police body cams. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. And the best is yet to come. I'm that one crazy person that might come up with the most random idea. I mean, I've got ideas. I have a reputation where I'm a barefoot monkey. And I've earned that reputation. Protesting in front of the court for a whole entire year. Literally, barefoot. Being a barefooted monkey. And when I call Glenn Ford a monkey, That monkey is my monkey. I have 5 giant trucks that I'm customizing into where it says free Mustafa Al Jazari. I have my brother's legal Cash App legal fund. And the legal fund is Mustafa. It's literally a Cash App. You can Cash App. It's Mustafa Legal Fund. And I have it on the truck. I have a giant poster that says Mustafa, free Mustafa. And I might be crazy enough to put the star witness on that truck. And literally, it's going to be a picture of Glenn Ford and with writing on it, call Prince William County. This monkey falsified my brother police report. Now, and giant bullet point, this pedophile fucked a 16-year-old. The other star witness, Dorothy's daughter. They solicited Mustafa to be killed. I mean, I have them admitting on a recorded line. So I'm just getting creative. And I might have a giant poster with Glenn Ford's face and with writing, call the police department. We have proof he's a pedophile. And we have him on a recorded line admitting that he fucked a 16-year-old. So I might have Glenn Ford's picture on my truck with a giant title that says pedophile.
Look at this.
Glenn Ford, how do you feel about your picture? Your picture on a giant truck. On a giant truck. You see? How do you feel about your picture on my giant trucks? Roll around from Stafford to Woodbridge to Prince William County, all the way to DC and Maryland. We got 5 giant trucks, brother. Imagine your picture on it with a giant writing, pedophile, slept with a 16-year-old. I have you on a recorded line saying that you slept with a 16-year-old. How do you think that's going to fly? And we're reaching out to different individuals in social media, like Vitelli. I have an interesting comment as early as today, tagging him in a very specific audio recording where Glenn Ford admits that
especially the older daughter. And she wanted me to shoot, like, kill him.
That's crazy. Okay. I tagged Vitelli. I said, we have you admitting on a recorded line to having inappropriate relationship with a 16-year-old. We tagged 18-year-old Kylie. And I said, maybe we should get Vitelli clips on this. Vitelli is a giant individual on the internet. He catches pedophiles, like our good friend, the star witness, Glenn Ford. So we're reaching out to different individuals to hold this disgusting human being accountable. On that note, thank you for being part of the conversation. This is not another boring podcast. This is Mustafa Al Jazari through the police body cams. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Thank you for being here.